Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen Scarlet Pimp Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a character analysis slash reading for the characters of Girlfriends Child. Now, I will be doing multiple versions of these. This one in particular will be focused on a general character analysis of the characters as it concerns season 1. Other videos that I will do for the characters will be centered around episodes, other particular seasons, things of that nature. But for right now, in this one, we focusing on basically the general entirety of the characters from season 1. Okay, so for this video in particular as well, for this part, if you will, I will be focused on the characters Joan Clayton and Lynn. Child, I don't remember what Lynn's last name is in the show, child, but it could take a quick Google. Hold on, let me see real quick. If I can Google real quick, child, what's Lynn's last name? While I am looking that up, a little bit of background information on the show Girlfriends. It is I don't know if you would say that it's the black version of Sex and the City, or Sex and the City is the white version of Girlfriends, but they have similar dynamics where it's four female characters, main characters, and they all friends, and they all live in a big city type area, and we get to see different types of the women, or in this case, as it is described in its blurb, a mixed batch of black women. So yes, this show is focused particularly on black women, the mixed batch of black women being Joan Clayton. Child, let me see who Searcy, okay? Joan Clayton, Lynn and Searcy, Antonia Childs, and Maya Wilkes. Those are the four main characters. And like I said, for this video, I will be focused on Joan Clayton and Lynn Searcy, okay? This show was created by Kelsey Grammer and I believe also Mara Brock Akil. Mara Brock Akil was indeed one of the main writers of the show, though, okay? They also are the same creators and writers of the spinoff of Girlfriends, which is The Game, and also Being Mary Jane that aired on BET that starred Gabrielle Union, child. So, just to name a few of their other works, and you can also see a consistency of the types of characters, their backgrounds, and the demographic that it reaches out to, child. So the show ran for 8 seasons, that's 8 to 9 years, and it ended due to a writer strike and therefore being documented as too expensive to keep up, child. So that's why it was canceled abruptly. I would love to get a movie. I would love to get a finale movie of the series, but without further ado, let's talk about the figurines here that I have representing our gals Joan Clayton as well as Lynn Searcy, okay? So I have this little furball individual here named Coconut, which is a orange little, I don't know if this is supposed to be an animal or what this is, but it's a little furball type situation, and it is representing Joan Clayton, and this one is Hootie, the colorful Hootie Beanie Boo, representing Lynn Searcy, okay? So, as I said before, for group 1, Joan Clayton, and for group 2, Lynn Searcy, okay? So the focal point of these videos is to give some background, both creative and spiritual, deeper insight of the characters, as well as giving you some insight on why and how you are drawn to the characters, what the characters are meant to symbolize as it comes from the intent of the creators and the actors, and also why your divine realm had you cross paths with these characters. And you don't have to feel limited to only choosing one character. If you want to watch all of the pools for each character, feel free. If you want to do 2 or just 3, that's great too. If you only want to do 1, do your thing, okay? Do whatever you feel resonates with you, okay? So take a sec, choose your pal, and we shall get into Miss Joan Clayton. All right, group 1, you all chose Joan Clayton, played by Tracee Ellis Ross, and like I said, represented by this furball Beanie Boo here named Coconut, who is orange and has a lot of hair, very big eyes, and things of that nature going on. And I chose that one intuitively for Joan Clayton, basically because, for one, it reminded me of her hair, and it has very huge eyes, just like Joan Clayton, aka Tracee Ellis Ross, child. And what it is giving me is some sacral chakra vibes, and based off what many of us already know about the character Joan Clayton, she is rather uptight. Sometimes she does not know how to have fun, and when she does start to have fun, she can go overboard, child, because she is so suppressed on a regular basis, honey. So that's what that orange is giving me, a need to do some work on your sacral chakra, and basically do that in ways of fun. Do some things that you enjoy, do some things that make you smile, do some things that allow you to just kick back. Have a slice of cake, okay? Have some juice, have something sweet or salty, you know, treat yourself or whatever. Take yourself on a date, go out and dance alone in your room, in the mirror or whatever, you know, do whatever gets your sacral chakra popping. That can be arts and crafts as well, singing, writing, any type of creative things, playing instruments, things of that nature, okay? You need some of that in your life. And also, being the fact that it has purple eyes, I get some crown chakra things going on. And that leads me back to what I was saying also about this. Reminded me of her hair and how big and bodacious it is, and how like it draws you in. Basically, I know it draws me in. It's like, I guess that's how people tend to feel about me when I have my hair out. But yes, so let's get into the analysis, child. So the first thing that I'm gonna get into, okay, just a little bit more information about Joan for those of you who don't know. In the very first episode, Joan, it's her birthday, and she is turning 29, and she's having a conversation with William in her office. He's in there to tell her happy birthday, and she goes to telling him that she is 26, and then she starts to playing all types of games, talking about, oh, she's 26, but I just say that because so I don't have to think about how much I haven't accomplished now that I'm 29. And mind you, honey, she gets promoted to junior partner in this episode, as well as she is already a lawyer and at a very successful top firm in the area, which is Los Angeles, is where they are. And it's like, girl. But the thing is, she feels unaccomplished because she doesn't have a man and she don't have no kids, okay? So let's get into the evaluation, all right? Why and how do y'all identify and synchronize with Miss Joan Clayton. And I'm going to use the geometric oracle cards. Well then. Gotta get up. Dynamic number 23. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. So this is tapping into the part of Joan that does not like change. Joan often knows what she wants, and she often wants quite a bit, to be honest, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just that at the same time, she becomes a very conflicting and contradicting person when she says that she wants something, and then when she gets it, she don't know what to do with it, child. So as this is an identification and synchronization question, that may be something that you all face as well, having a hard time acknowledging and just smelling the roses, just smelling the coffee and enjoying and showing some gratitude for the great things and the blessings and the people that you already have in your life. And that will then help you gain better insight and greater capacity to welcome in new things as well. And I'm also getting some things about setting boundaries in there. One of Joan's main characteristics is her passive aggression and not being able to set boundaries with Toni in particular. People in general, but Toni in particular is one main person in the series that she tends to have a hard time setting boundaries with, allowing Toni to always cross her boundaries. And then when she finally does say something, it's like this cognitive dissonance that comes up with Toni that's like, but I've been fucking over you in peace all this time. Why you correcting me today? Why? No. And problematic. So y'all might be having some things like that going on in your life, and it's given, certainly with this blue that's in here also, it's given that y'all need to work on your throat chakra. And that's probably where, for some of you, that singing comes in, or the writing and things of that nature comes in, as it concerns the sacral, not the sacral, but y'all definitely really need to work on that too, because Joan has a lot of confidence issues. But as it concerns the, yes, it is sacral. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. But as it concerns the sacral chakra reference that I made a while ago, a little bit ago, when I said singing and writing and things of that nature, those are creative things. But singing and writing and things that are musical in particular, or that deal with using your voice, are also fall into the throat chakra category, which is interesting that I chose the blue pattern to do today also. So yeah, I need to work on sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, and throat chakra in particular. I need to raise the self-esteem. I need to raise the confidence and the courageousness in you. And that makes so much sense, because Joan's hair is a lot like a lion mane, and is giving Leo energy, a need to be more confident and more courageous, because it is also Leo energy to be like, oh, I know what I want and I'm gonna go after it and get it. However, y'all may also need to use some Leo energy in speaking up and saying what you want, and saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and also putting people in their place, because Leos are very quick to be like, I don't like that, back up, and don't care about how the other person feel, which can have pros and cons. But you train people how to treat you, and it's honestly better to say something and understand who it is that you're dealing with, and they understand what it is and what it's going to be with you also, as opposed to going on disingenuously and creating more problems for yourself and the other person, and then ended up making a fool of yourself after you do some passive aggressive foolishness, which Joan has a tendency to do. She will let things slide and build up, and then she ends up passive aggressively reacting to it in different ways, and it causes more problems, and it makes her look shady in the process, because she literally could have just said straight up what the issue is, which in episode 1 in particular, dealing with someone who she had just broken up with, and then he wants to date Toni and Toni wants to date him, and Toni asks her, is it okay, would you feel some type of way, and this and that and the third, and she's like, you know, she tells her that it's okay, and how she really feels is, oh, she should just know that that's a problem, like why would she ask me that, da 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 da. So Toni ends up taking him to the party, and it becomes this big scene, and Joan ends up making a fool of herself, in a way. She is walking around the party being shady, throwing shots, things of that nature, being cordial but throwing shots and being passive aggressive. And even though Toni is starting a lot of shit with Maya, Joan takes Maya's side in a lot of the disagreements that she and Toni have, and rightfully so a lot of the time, but given what I just said, it does seem as though she would be doing that passive aggressively to piss Toni off, because she really has an issue with Toni, has multiple issues with Toni, to be honest, and she ends up having a wardrobe malfunction after and in the midst of her spazzing out on everybody and telling them to get the fuck out of her house. And it's a crazy situation or whatever, and that's what I mean, like, it's better to just say things and get it out of the way than to go through all of that and you end up dragging yourself into looking foolish with fools. You feel me? Okay, let's see how else y'all synchronize with the girl. Synchronize and identify with Miss Joan Clayton. This just fell out of nowhere, and it makes sense. Change. This goes back to what I was just saying. This is the change card. Goes back to what I was just saying about how she doesn't like change, and that is a part of the reason, more than likely, why she has a hard time holding people accountable and speaking up for herself, because she is afraid of the dynamic. She's afraid of the dynamic changing in the relationship. Okay, so she wants new things, but is often afraid to change her functionality in order to get it, because she's afraid of how it would change the dynamics in her relationships and in her role in life and in her role in society. And I often see this be a prominent thing for women in business in particular, but even more particular, women who are lawyers or that work in law enforcement of any kind, because it is male dominated, and they do have to like have these hard exteriors or whatever, so that people don't run over them, and so that the men that they work with will take them serious. And that can end up causing imbalance in the way that they don't understand how to code switch. Okay, so many of you may be having workaholic syndrome, and your identity may be getting wrapped up in your job or whatever your career is, and there needs to integrate greater capacity and greater ability to code switch. That's a surface level term. And also reclaiming your energy in between settings. So what I mean by that is, you go to work, before you go to work, you may want to schedule in at least 10 minutes to just meditate and check in with yourself and pray and set intent and burn some candles or whatever it is that you need to do. Listen to a song that you like, things of that nature to put you in the right mindset to go in and be great. And then when you leave work, you need to do that again to reclaim your energy. A way you can do that is close your eyes and visualize you just like in a circle of the people that you work with or people that have rubbed you wrong that day, and imagine yourself just telling them, this is over. I'm reclaiming my energy. I'm reclaiming my time. I am not consumed by other people's thoughts and opinions. I am not consumed by other people's identities and functionalities. You say amen, I say hallelujah, whatever it is that you say to seal your deal. And then you can imagine yourself cutting cords, like you on one side and one other side. You can imagine yourself cutting cords from them, and that will help not only your mind but your spirit and your body to be freed of the weight of other people's energies and other people's influence that just mindlessly get attached to you or whatever. And it will help you function better in your regular life as well as function better in your career and just make better decisions and things of that nature as a whole. It will help you get to a better heart set with yourself as well. I feel like some heart chakra shit. Compassion. I was just saying, I feel like some heart chakra shit is about to come out from that. So yeah, a needing to get back with your heart, a need to be compassionate with yourself. And that is the thing about Joan. Joan is compassionate to everybody else but herself. She has kind words and uplifting speeches and support and understanding for literally everybody else but herself. She beats herself up for the slightest mistakes, even things that were beyond her control, such as her wardrobe malfunction. Her wardrobe malfunction, just to give a simple example, all she did was get up and her tie came loose in the back of her dress and exposed her bosom, okay? That wasn't her fault. It is what it is. Joan ain't hardly got no titties no way. So, wasn't nobody really tripping, but she was embarrassed and she spazzed out. She ran out, da 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 da, and likely beat herself up for the rest of the night, because as we get into other scenes after that, we see her just kind of moping around and feeling bad about herself and da 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 da, just really beating herself up, criticizing herself and shaming herself for every little thing, every little flaw that she has, despite the fact that she has a wonderful, beautiful house. She has a great career. She's wealthy and well off. She lives in a great neighborhood. She has great friends, okay? But she just cannot stop talking bad to herself, and being so heavily critical of herself. And so this is something that y'all are likely struggling with as well, being overly critical and overly demanding and not compassionate with yourself. So y'all would likely do well to find some heart chakra affirmations, specifically as it concerns compassion. So you can literally type in Google affirmations for compassion, affirmations for self-compassion, affirmations for self-forgiveness, affirmations for self-love, affirmations for guilt releasing, things of that nature. And it will literally help change the voices in your head and make a difference in how you talk to yourself, and also how you end up functioning with other people and talking to other people as well. And you would end up trusting your throat chakra, okay? Connecting that solar plexus with the heart chakra and the throat chakra, okay? That helps you, when you align those three in particular, you have more confidence when you speak. And you speak in the voice of your higher self effortlessly and things of that nature. So that's why you see these flashes of yellow, this green here, and then some blue hues and all of that. Literally the need to align your solar plexus, heart, and throat chakra. So let's get into the intent, the creative intent, okay? So this is the creative intent that the creators and the actress put into the character of Joan, what they wanted to show the audience and what they wanted the people to relate to and notice when it came to the character. I'm going to pull the creator's intent first. At the Moulin Rouge, and it is in reverse, and this is Henry de Toulouse. It has the number 6 on it, so the number 6 is the number of reflection, so needing to reevaluate, needing to reflect. So a part of their intention for Joan is about reflection and lessons on reflecting. Joan does a lot of reflecting, but it's usually to criticize herself and beat herself up and measure herself up to unreasonable standards, okay? And there's a need to redirect that energy into reflecting upon great things and pointing out the great things about your memories and the great things about your accomplishments and the great things about your life. What I said a minute ago about raising your frequency of gratitude and being more compassionate about being more compassionate to yourself and things of that nature. But also, this is also giving a balance thing. You know what I was just saying about balance, but also it's like the creators wanted to show the people a character and make them the opposite of their stereotype. So what this is giving me is Joan is light skinned, right? Tracee Ellis Ross in real life is biracial. And a stereotype that comes along with light skinned women is that they're stuck up, they, head up their ass, snobby, snooty, arrogant, things of that nature, dumb, docile, whatever what have you on that note. Mediocre, don't work that hard for what they get, just sleep their ways to the top or just rely on their looks to get to the top, things of that nature. And Joan is the exact opposite of that stereotype. She is not overtly arrogant. She's not snobby and snooty. She has standards, but she really is very effortlessly vulnerable and effortlessly transparent with her insecurities and the things that she struggles with. We see her in moments of showing confidence, but a lot of the time we also see her being a human being. And the job that she has requires her to stuff that down a lot. And she could be a lot like Toni, selfish and rude and inconsiderate of other people, but she is quite the opposite, okay? So this is about balance. This is about not limiting yourself, and this is about also releasing yourself from other people's thoughts and opinions, and also not judging a book by its cover. So something I'm getting from this also is that some of you, there's a need for some of you to change your perspective, expand your perspective on somebody or some people in your life that you have been prejudging and that you have been kind of looking at from a stigmatized, stereotypical point of view, but they're really not like that. And it's been causing conflict in the way that y'all communicate and the way that y'all interact with each other. And this will be from Tracee Ellis Ross's intent. A carnival evening. Henry Rosso. A carnival evening. And in this image, You see two people. It's like a house back there, like kind of like a wooded area, boondocky-ish type thing going on. They got on all white, and it's called Carnival Evening Child. Okay, so what this is giving me is what I said about the sacral chakra thing of it all. There is some parallelisms of being Mary Jane coming up here, okay? So, in being Mary Jane's case, she ended up with a alcohol problem. She ended up with an alcohol problem. She was hiding bottles in different places in her house, drinking early in the morning, drinking all day to cope with her insecurities, to cope with her life, to cope with everything that she had going on. Alternatively, we have Joan, who is quite OCD, if you will. Like I said, rather uptight, is kind of afraid to have fun. And what I'm getting from that is something that Tracy likely recognized about the character, is that Joan does all of this OCD type stuff to keep herself disciplined, to keep herself from becoming a stereotype, to keep herself from becoming the worst of what she's seen other people become in a field like hers, and with success and access and privilege as well. And she doesn't want to be like that, so she prides herself in not being like that, and she tries so hard to not be that and to not come off like that, but it's often at the expense of enjoyment in general, and it's also often at the expense of shaming herself for her sexuality, and shaming herself for having fun, and shaming herself for a whole lot of things. So that's what it is giving. Some of you, there are some warnings about addiction, okay? And for some of you, there is a need to, like I said, gain more trust in yourself to not harm yourself, okay? So it's like, if you need to talk to someone, if you need to talk to a therapist, definitely do what you need to do that, because imprisoning yourself to ridiculous schedules and limitations and overly strict diets and things of that nature is not healthy, because it's not balanced, and it ends in suppression, and suppression usually leads to shit boiling over and train wrecking at some point, which in certain cases, but like I said, we're sticking to season 1, but that ends up kind of happening. But that goes back to what I said about like dealing with things straight up and head on and getting it out the way instead of sidestepping it. Tracy Ellis Ross is a Scorpio in real life, but I always feel like Joan in particular is a Cancer, because Cancers are very emotional. They are people pleasers. Like, even if they have a nonchalant attitude about shit and don't mind cutting people off, they still like have this thing of, it's like Captain Save-A-Hole type thing, like will do anything for the people that they love type shit. And so that's a lot of what I get from Joan as well. And that's probably where y'all come in. So that's why there's a need to get the compassion thing in order, so that you can stop being resentful of your big heart and stop shaming yourself for having a big heart as well. Stop shaming yourself for doing things that you want to do and need to do for yourself. Also getting that Tracy Ellis Ross wanted to put out there with Joan that, and this is what I'm getting intuitively. I didn't read it. I'm reading it from the cards. But what I'm picking up on is that something that she wanted to, a message basically that she wanted to give off through Joan is that it's okay to be human. It's okay to be flawed. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everything is going to be fine. Everything will fall into place. The same way you made your materialistic successes come into fruition, you also have the power to make your happiness come into fruition by starting with talking nicer to yourself and changing the voices in your head, because what's in your head will become your reality. So you just need to get some intent, change your intent and redirect the energy, redirect the focus of the energy behind what you're saying to yourself and what you are pouring into yourself as well, and what you are allowing others to pour into you. Oh, get to the last question. I think this is the last question. Oh, okay. Okay. So this is going to be the strengths, blocks, and messages of the character. So, strengths of Joan. Nah. Strengths of Joan. And these will also be parallel to your strengths. So these will be like strengths that y'all have in common. Rebel. Because fuck it. That's what it says. I hope you can see it, but yeah. Rebel, because fuck it. So this is a strength that y'all have in common with Joan Clayton. Y'all naturally have a rebellious nature. We do see that with Joan. We just kind of see it in a passive aggressive manner a lot of the time. However, she has defeated a hell of a lot of odds already as it is. Like I said, she is a young black junior partner at one of the top lawyer firms in Los Angeles, California, honey. Okay, she's dipping it and doing it, alright? She's looking for a man or whatever. So, there's just a need to understand time, place, and choosing your battles, and understand that sometimes there is a time for war. There is a time to rebel. You just need to make sure that you're doing it head on, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and also at the right time. Okay, it's okay to be classy and maintain discipline and all of that at the same time, and that's where you are with it. Figuring out that balance of yourself, figuring out the best way to balance your bluntness with your tenderness and the love that you want to give off also at the same time to people. Some blocks playing. And when I say blocks, these are things that get in her way. Again, parallel to you. Fuck fear. Fuck fear. I know, right? Fuck fear. It will lie to your fucking face. So, yeah. That is a block of Joan. Functioning out of fear. Living out of fear a lot. Like I said, she worries a lot. Okay? She overthinks and overanalyzes a lot, and it is all because of fear. She has so many fears. She fears that she won't be as successful as she wants to be. She fears that she will become a stereotype. She fears not having kids. She fears not ever getting married. She fears betrayal. She fears hurt. She fears a lot, damn near everything. And I guess that's an obstacle for also y'all, that y'all are working on getting past fear. And child, I ain't gonna lie, that is a difficult process to go through. So light, love, and liberation to you. in that. But yeah, so definitely want to work on the root chakra. Interesting, because this card is also red. So you want to work on the root chakra, and great affirmation to use is I am always protected and provided for. I am always protected and provided for. Okay, burn your cinnamon, it helps. Okay, do your yoga, all of that. If it makes you feel any better, go to a gun range, learn how to shoot, take some fighting classes, find safe ways that teach you how to protect and defend yourself, but also allow you to like release anger in safe ways that don't harm anybody and don't, you know, put you in harm's way either. And that can help as well. Meditate more. And for the last one, this is a divine message of the character Joan, and this is in a spiritual sense. This is from you all's divine realm, and the message is you are loved. You are here for a reason, so don't fuck it up. And I'm going to add to that, you are here for a reason, so don't fuck it up by letting other people's thoughts and opinions and other people's actions get in the way of your vision, of your goal, child. Don't let yourself, your fears get in the way either, child. And remember that you are loved. And like I said before, the perfect way to remember that and to keep it in your mind is to get into those heart chakra affirmations, finding great things to say to yourself. I direct the purest of love and light towards myself. I radiate the purest of unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness through myself. Okay? Wonderful. And child, I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have been enlightened and entertained. And I also hope that you would like, comment, and subscribe, and come on back through for the rest of the videos that I will be having coming up, child. I also hope that you will sort through some of my older videos and more recent videos if you haven't, and if you will as well, tell a friend or something. Okay, child, I'm dropping stuff. Okay, so yeah, that might have hit my mic, I'm so sorry, but yeah, I thank y'all. I thank y'all. I greatly appreciate y'all. And I will be getting into the next group. Peace. Alright, group 2. Hello. You all chose Lynn Searcy, okay? The bohemian, biracial bombshell of it all, okay? Miss Lynn Searcy. So, a little background information about Lynn. I was not exactly able to find out exactly how old she is in season 1, but it is to be assumed that she is at least no more than a year or two, maybe 3 younger than Joan. Okay, Toni parades around like she's a year younger than Joan. Joan is 29 in the first episode and in the first season. And Toni parades around like she's 1 year younger than Joan, but she is actually 1 year older than Joan. So Joan is 29, which would make Toni 30. And Lynn is more than likely 28 or 29. Okay, so she's between 28 and 29. And she is a professional student. She has 8 degrees, child. And she is a hobosexual that house hops. Yes, I said hobosexual. She likes boys. She likes girls. She likes anybody that will let her stay with them. That's why she got the term hobosexual. So yeah, that's what Lynn is giving. Lynn also comes off like a Leo in a way. And then it's between unevolved Leo and a bit of unevolved Taurus in a way. Because both unevolved Leos and unevolved Tauruses are quite fuckless, and will eat your snacks. But I saw how free spirited she is, and how woke, and actually how wise and insightful and creative she is. Okay, there's just a lack of direction, a lack of focus there. Okay, and so here we have for her representation Hootie, and this is a colorful owl here. So hey, that goes back to what I was saying about the wise aspect, and also the colorful aspect, her being free spirited, her being this hippie flower child type of individual. So let's get into her cards, child. Let's get into her cards. Let's get into why and how you all synchronize and identify with Miss Lynn Searcy. Prosperity. This is the prosperity card, and it has come out sideways, and as you can see, the consistency of coloration there, the multi-coloration of it all, giving a balance of the chakras, a need to balance the chakras, as well as a need to recognize that you are destined for prosperity, and to demolish the fears that you have around success, which is what Lynn also deals with. That is a main aspect of Lynn's characteristics. That's a bit of what makes her this hobosexual type individual, as well as a very wise and spiritual, free-spirited type of individual. And it is the fact that she is capable of success, yet she fears success. She fears what comes with it. She fears the responsibility of it. She fears the possibility of having to let people sleep on her couch. You know, things of that nature. So some of you may also be dealing with that, be dealing with a lack of direction, or lack of stability, if you will, lack of grounding. Feeling sometimes when you are multi-talented and multifaceted, you get caught up in society's conditioning of feeling like you have to choose something, like you have to just stick to one thing, but not necessarily. You just probably need to understand time and place, and commit at this point to this when it's time to commit to this, and then when you have rehearsal for such and such, you need to make sure that you're there committing for that. It's all about balance and prioritization also, which also takes presence, being present, as opposed to like having this escapist type of functionality, which I also feel like Lynn has as well, being the fact that she doesn't have a place of her own, and she is often house hopping. Communication. Communication, and look at that color right there. So what I'm getting from this is Lynn is very blunt, and Lynn often has great insight into other people's issues and problems, but Lynn doesn't really take her own advice in certain ways. And what I mean by that is, while Lynn is very rebellious and she does what she wants to at her own time and all of that shit, Lynn is afraid to have a real conversation with herself about what she really wants out of life, and what she really wants to do and pour into the life that she has and the life that she lives on a real note. Lynn is afraid to be present on a real level, which is why she remains airy and all of this other stuff when she's around other people, because she really doesn't want to get on a raw, meaty level with people, because she hasn't gotten to that level with herself. And a part of that, I feel like, does come from the identity issues of not only being biracial but also being adopted. Lynn is an adopted child, and what I mean by that, stemming from her being biracial, the fact that sometimes when biracial people are raised with only one side of their family, only one side of their identity, they can lack an understanding and lack knowledge and have these feelings of like longing for understanding about like what's going on over there. Like, am I making sense here? Okay, so tying that in with the fact of her being adopted, like how adopted children, they want to know where they came from, you know? That sense of identity, that sense of history, that sense of foundation, that sense of culture. And that's what a lot of biracial kids end up feeling fragmented in, because they feel like they have to choose, or they feel like their loyalty or their identity is constantly being questioned, because they themselves don't have much experience with their black side, or in Lynn's case, she doesn't have much experience with her black side of her family, and she also doesn't know who her birth parents are in general. So she's raised by white parents, and while she's appreciative of them and they are ultimately a blessing to her, she has a lot of questions, and she has a lot of lack of understanding type shit. So some of you may be dealing with that, being the fact that it came up. And don't be afraid to do your ancestry. Don't be afraid to test out and research your ancestry and find out who you are. Don't be afraid to have real conversations with yourself, because honestly, that is a form of self-love as well. That is a form of self-care. Checking in with yourself, seeing what you want and how you feel about everything that's going on, and figuring out how you can be better and get to fulfilling the purpose that you have here, child. Okay? Okay. And with that being said, some of you may have a purpose in using your voice, seems like creatively. So probably some musicians, which even though I'm focused on season 1, Lynn does end up becoming a musician. So something to think about. Remembrance. So yes, this is a lot about this is bringing up a lot about feeling disconnected, and for some of you this is a feeling of disconnection from your younger self, from your inner child. It may be hard for you to remember a lot of things about your childhood, and it's causing you to feel kind of disconnected and fragmented and imbalanced. And you may need to write a letter to your shadow self in order to open the door to recognizing and accessing your younger self once again. And for some of you, you may need to go play on a playground. You may need to go to an amusement park, or something of the sort. Go to a zoo or a fair or a museum. Play basketball. Do some charity community work with kids, and that'll help to open the door of communication with you and your younger self as well. For some of you, this goes back to the identification, the identity disconnect here, wanting to know more about your ethnicity and wanting to know more about your culture. Some of you may be biracial, or some of you may be racially ambiguous, or just light-skinned and feel tugged and pulled between two different worlds, and constantly tugged and pulled between two different groups. And honestly, the way you combat those feelings of being tugged and pulled is by checking in with yourself. And I'm sorry if I touched my mic, but it is by checking in with yourself and getting real with yourself about what your actual thoughts and opinions are, free of what other people got to say. So you have to get into a hermit mode and get in touch with yourself and see who you really are and how you really think and how you really feel about everything. Turn your phone off, and so there aren't any interferences of influence, and allow those epiphanies to come in and go with it. The quietest voice in your head is usually your intuition, not the loudest one. So that's a note. And this also looks like a peacock to me. So understand that you're meant to be unique. You're meant to stretch yourself in a colorful way. So don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be arrogant, but don't be afraid to stand out and be confident and courageous in who you are. All right, so the creative intent. So this will be a combination of the intent of the creators, which is Kelsey Grammer and Mara Brock Akil, as well as the intent of the actress Persia White. Okay, so the first card I'm going to pull is the creative intent of Kelsey Grammer and Mara Brock Akil, the creative intent behind creating Lynn Searcy. Excuse me. So here we have the circus, child. Here we have the circus. And if you know anything about Lynn Searcy, then you know that this is perfectly fitting, child. And then it's the number 2 on here, giving dealings of duality, which makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Lynn is biracial for one, like I said, so dealing with duality, dealing with multiple things being true at once, dealing with being and belonging to multiple and different groups at once, which goes back into also leading into being multifaceted and things of that nature. So the duality of being multifaceted, the duality of being a free spirit, as well as being someone who understands discipline and understands responsibility. Okay, so understanding and forming the balance and the prioritization, the time and the place for fun, and the time and the place for work, the time and the place for being silly, and the time and the place for being serious, child. So there is that. So with that being said, also Lynn is meant to be a representation of someone who is trying to figure it out at their own pace. So Lynn is ultimately an opposite of Joan. In a way, I feel like Lynn is a foil character to Joan in a way. And what I mean by that is she is a character. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, for some reason all of a sudden I had to sneeze, but yes, bless me. But yes, so in acting terms, a foil character is one that is an exact opposite of the main character and can sometimes seem like the villain, and they often distract from who the real villain actually is. So when it comes to what I'm saying about Lynn, so for Joan in particular, both Toni and Lynn are opposites of Joan, are exact opposites of Joan, just in different ways. We'll talk about Toni in Toni's video, but as it concerns Lynn, Lynn is the exact opposite of Joan. Okay, greetings, group 2. If you notice that the sound is different, it's because I had to take my mic off because my charger is about to die. And we'll shake it out. I'll shake it out. And it's out. Okay. Okay. Well, now we are going to get into the intent from the creators and the actor. So this will be from the creators, Mara Brock-Akil and Kelsey Grammer. Okay, go for the Marcel. Yes, so a part of the intents from the creators, Kelsey Grammer and Mara Brock-Akil, in creating and showing us Lynn Searcy is to give us the image of a person who is free and has so much insight. You know, they seem so wise and this and that, like I said, but they lack sight of their own identity. So that is very directional right there. They need to take a trip to go off somewhere and just take a break and really get in touch with yourself, really gain more insight in yourself so that you can really discover and start working on who it is that you actually want to be. And maybe that's the point. Maybe being faced with the challenge of lacking a sense of identity in the way gives you greater opportunity to make yourself who you want yourself to be. You know, a lot of people deal with struggling with other people constantly trying to tell them who to be and how to be and this and that, and they have a hard time rejecting that. They have a hard time rebelling against that and protecting their energy from that type of shit. Howsoever, when you are a free spirit, and when you do, you know, maybe have that challenge of lacking identity and lacking insight of yourself, the upside of that is you have a blank slate to manifest yourself into whatever you want. And that's the empowerment of it all, right? So I love that. I love that. And I definitely feel like that was intuitively correlated with what they were wanting to give off when it came to Lynn. Showing somebody who is free-spirited, has identity issues, but eventually figures out how to turn that into a strength by making herself what she wanted to be. Basically, literally being self-made. Whereas Joan is self-made in a materialistic sense. You know, the shoes on her feet, she bought it. The clothes she wears, she bought it. The house she live in, okay? But Lynn, on the other hand, becomes self-made in a characteristic type of way, in a personality type of way, in a more spiritual type of way. And that is beautiful, to be honest. That is that is beautiful to me, honestly. It honestly just gave me a great epiphany as it concerns myself as well. So this will be more so from Persia White's perspective. Okay, so this is from Persia White's perspective. Okay, so a bit surprising, but makes sense. So what this is giving me, this is a Sunday afternoon on La Grande Jatte, and it basically looks like a mother-daughter picnic day at the park type situation. What this is giving me though is that Persia noticed basically the mommy issues when it came to Lynn, and something that she wanted to show and be vulnerable about and be honest about when it came to Lynn
is how the lack of raw connect with her mother and her, her biological mother and her adoptive mother, how that kind of disconnect has an effect on women, on a woman, on Lynn in particular. And what that also gives and brings up is Lynn also revealing the stereotypical aesthetic and the stereotypical ideal of what a woman is, how a woman functions, and what a woman looks like, and also what women desire. Okay, and that is literally how she the word that comes to mind is foil, which is a acting term. Um, it's used to refer to someone who is the exact opposite of the main character and poses problems from them. For them, they tend to it may seem like the antagonist, but they're really just a distraction for who the actual antagonist is. And outside of the antagonist aspect, even though they can be brought up in a way as it concerns Toni versus Lynn, because both Toni and Lynn are opposites of Joan as far as characteristics and the way that they function, the way that they think, the way that they move. They are very opposite of Joan, her exact opposites, but just in different ways. Um, and Lynn can seem like a burden for Joan, in which she is in a lot of ways. However, Toni is actually more problematic. Okay, but Toni is closer to Joan, so that's how that works. But I say that to say Joan is like Joan defines some stereotypical aspects of women and the type of woman that she is, but then at the same time she struggles with still wanting to subscribe to the stereotypical aspects, still wanting approval from society and from the people who subscribe to the stereotypical and fucked up conditionings of society. Whereas women want to be married, protected, and have babies, and just get a rich husband and live their best life like that. Like that's what women want. Like that's an idea that both Joan and Lynn face. However, they respond to it differently. Joan rejects it in certain ways, but then also craves it, whereas Lynn completely rejects it. And that's a good thing. However, where it's coming from can cause discrepancy. And a part of that can be the mommy issues, which end up in a person having a warped perspective of their femininity, of their feminine energy, or even shaming their feminine aspects about themselves. And they can end up, trying to make themselves look less idealistically feminine, which is not a bad thing. It's just when it comes from a wounded place or from a place of feeling rejected from that standard in the first place, you just want to make sure that you've healed those wounds so that you are doing what you do for yourself and not mindlessly still being influenced by what you were trying so hard to reject. If that makes sense. That was the last card for that. What I want to add to that, just to sum that up, what I just said and wrap it up, I'm getting to that. That's another thing that Persia was recognizing and bringing to the character. Somebody who is so woke and so intelligent and so insightful, but they are kind of a victim to what they are fighting and call themselves protecting other people from. at the same time. And they remain a victim in that place until they face and confront the wound that is in them, and protect and fight for themselves first. So again, hope that made sense. As we move into the final portion of this read, so this will cover face itching child. This will cover the strengths, the blocks, and the divine message of Miss Lynn Searcy. So what are the strengths of Lynn Searcy? Okay, so this is the card we got here. And what it says is you are going through some tough shit. Everyone has their turn. Welcome to yours. Gather your tired ass up and handle it. Okay, so yes, I asked for strengths, but how this is giving Lynn's strength is basically Lynn effortlessly smiles through the rain, child. And so those of you that chose her resonate with her, okay? We went through how y'all synchronize and identify with her, okay? So this is a way that many of you likely identify with her. And some of you may need to work on that even more, especially as it concerns being in the space that you're in right now, trying to figure out who you are and who you want to be, which is tough, okay? It is it can be easy. It can be effortless, okay? As long as you're willing to confront a lot of things head on and not be afraid to cry. But yeah, this is what it's given. Like where you are right now, you are going to have to face a lot of insecurities about yourself in order to really bloom into the queen or the king that you want to be in a mind, body, and spirit type of sense. And one thing that is really going to help you all is the maintaining of smiling in the rain and dancing through the storms, constantly saying positive affirmations to yourself, constantly engaging and listening to and watching happy forms of media, happy music, happy movies, happy shows, things of that nature, making sure that you are pouring into your sacral chakra, your solar plexus chakra a lot throughout this process. It wants to lean over. Okay. Some blocks. Some blocks as it concerns Lynn Searcy, which are also synchronized with you all. Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anyone. You need some fucking time alone. And you know why? That's exactly what it says. You need some fucking time alone. And you know why? And you do know why, because I just said why. And for a lot of y'all, y'all probably already knew that. Y'all just needed somebody to say it. So I really don't even have to go in depth with this. Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anyone. You need some fucking time alone. And you know why. Good luck on that for real. And so now this will be the divine message of Lynn Searcy to you all. Oh my gosh, I was just saying this, and child, I ain't gonna even have to go deep into it because it's literally just a sum up of a good button on everything that I just said. You need a good fucking cry. You need a good fucking cry. You need to emotionally purge. Get the ugly cry on. Let that shit go. Your soul will thank you. Get the ugly cry on. Let that shit go. Your soul will thank you. For real. And the people who end up joining us,